Hello, everyone. Very good evening to you all, and welcome to this another session of Brahmastra series. So, in today's session, as you know, we are going to talk about Unit 11. Now, Unit 11 comprises of evolution and behavior. And from Unit 11, from Part B and Part C, we expect we expect around 10 to 11 questions. And every session, it does come 10 to 11 questions, including Part B and Part C from Unit 11. So we are going to talk about some of the most important sections of Unit 11, and I'm going to solve some Part C questions, and I hope you all will also solve with me during the class. Yes? Are you all there with me? Can I have some quick responses in the chat? Hello, everyone. Are you all ready to solve some questions from Unit 11? Yes, anyone there? Okay, so I expect all of you to please send me your replies. Okay, so let's do it together, then only it will be fun. Okay, so after every question, I'll give you 1 minute. Thank you, Sridevi, for your response. Okay, so be ready for solving questions. So, another 1 hour of pure question solving, part C questions we will solve from these two topics: evolutionary history and phylogenetic analysis. Now, evolutionary history, where we talk about the various eras, periods, epochs, and everything, and in the sequence and the important events of each of those time periods, right? So that used to be very important section, and every session at least one question, one part C question from there always used to come. However, in the last exam, okay, that is in June 24, we saw a lot of questions like from morning session as well as evening session. If you take up the previous year paper from June 24, you will see that lot of questions came from this phylogenetic analysis. Okay, so we'll be solving questions from evolutionary history as well as phylogenetic analysis. Thank you, Satyam, for your response. Okay, and let's get started now. So here comes the very first question. Okay, so match the major events in the history of life with Earth's geological period. So this is one type of question which is very commonly asked from this paleontology and evolutionary history. So where they give this match the following kind of thing. Okay, so there are events written in one column, geological period given in one column, and you have to match them. Yes, can I have some answer here? So match the following kind of questions are anyways the easiest question from the bundle, and you should always solve them first. No, Satyam, that's not right. Okay, I hope all of you have prepared this section. And if you are a Biotechnica student, so you know in the class I have given you tips and tricks. I have given you some shortcuts. I have given you some tricks to remember these periods and events. So I definitely want you all to solve it correctly. Okay, let's have a look at this question, how to solve it. Right. So first reptiles. Okay, so these are the events. So here are the first reptile, first mammals, first humans, first amphibians. Okay. Now this is the basic thing about this geological periods. So whenever you are studying any of these events, any of this period, so it's a period. So you should know two things. Okay. One thing is which species made its first appearance. If there is any species which made its first appearance, that you should know. Along with that, you should also know the most dominant species. Okay, now dominant, by dominant I don't mean it was the strongest or it will be the no, it will be the fastest, nothing like that. Dominant species means that is the group which showed the maximum diversity. Okay, maximum variation. I'm sorry, Pragati, that also is not the answer. Okay, so first reptiles. Okay, so first reptiles evolved during which group? So the first reptiles actually evolved during Carboniferous. Okay, for Carboniferous period. Carboniferous period is also known as the period of amphibians. So amphibians are dominant at that time. Okay, so if you go by complexity, so this is another way of remembering. After amphibians, there will be reptiles only. So the first reptiles came during this Carboniferous period. Okay, and then when we go to the Mesozoic era, that entire era got dominated by reptiles. But first reptiles came in Carboniferous. First mammals. Okay, now first mammals came along with first dinosaurs. So dinosaurs came in which time? It came in Triassic period, the first period of Mesozoic era. So first mammals also came in that. Okay, although mammal diversification did not happen in Mesozoic era till the dinosaurs were there. Once dinosaurs go extinct, then only mammal diversification started in the Cenozoic era. Okay, so first mammals came in Triassic. First human. Okay, so by first human we mean Homo sapien species. So that first humans came during the quaternary period. Okay, so the most recent period of Cenozoic era is quaternary period. So first humans came in quaternary period, and first amphibians. Okay, so they came in Devonian period. So Devonian period is categorized by the most is the most it's called the age of fishes. Okay, so during that time only the next group, which is amphibian, that made its appearance. Okay, so answer will be A5, B4, yeah, A5, B4, C1, and D6. Okay, answer will be option 2. All right, so I hope all of you understood. See, this is something like if you're preparing, first of all, you must prepare this segment because questions are very commonly asked. And then you have to remember the periods in their orders, the name of the eras and periods and epochs. Along with that, you have to remember the important events. Next question. Okay, the diagram A to D below shows the relative abundance of major groups of plants. Refer to the legends. Okay, so these legends are given for the plants in 4 different geological periods: Devonian, Carboniferous, Tertiary, and Cretaceous. Match the diagram A to D with the correct geological period. Yes, again, I'm giving you a couple of minutes to check this out and answer. Yes, anybody got the answer? And everyone, just an announcement, as you all know, like if you are daily attending Brahmastra series, so you know that question from this part, some extra questions from this part will be shared with you in a document after the session. Okay, so you all can download that document and practice those questions. So there will be question along with their explanation. Yes, any answer, anybody? No, Satyam, that's not correct. Okay, so let's have a look here. Okay, so let's solve it. How we will do it, like with the events, and after that, I will give you a shortcut also to solve it. Okay, so stay tuned, everyone. Yeah. Okay, so A is showing what? So in A, there are 3 kinds of plants you see, right? So there are pteridophytes, then there are gymnosperms, and then there are angiosperms. Okay. Now, by the amount of area that it is covering, so that is actually showing that how much it is dominant or not. So you can see that pteridophytes are present in very small amount. So gymnosperms are most dominant, and angiosperms, you can say that they have just started the diversification. Okay, now this is a situation. So among this Devonian, Carboniferous, Tertiary, and the Cretaceous, so this will be a situation in the Cretaceous period. Okay, so in Cretaceous period, like in Jurassic period and Cretaceous period, that was the time where the gymnosperms were most dominant. Okay, but in there was no angiosperms in the angiosperms just started its diversification during the Jurassic and Cretaceous period. Okay, so because Jurassic is not there, so there is no confusion. Definitely A has to be Cretaceous. Okay, so A is Cretaceous. Now, for B, what do we see? Only early vascular plants are there. Okay, early vascular plants, definitely that means we are talking about some or the other period of Paleozoic era. Okay, so there are two periods of Paleozoic era, Devonian and Carboniferous. So it is during the Devonian period that the primitive vascular plants were present. Okay, early vascular plants were there. Okay, so this is Devonian. Now in C, what do we see here? That gymnosperms are there, but angiosperms. Okay, this entire part is angiosperms, and there is a huge diversification of angiosperms that has happened. Okay, so major diversification of angiosperms started from Cretaceous period. So definitely in the other period, the next period which came, there will be more. Okay, so which period came after Cretaceous? So after Cretaceous period, Mesozoic era got over and Cenozoic era started. The first period of Cenozoic era is Tertiary period. Okay, so C has to be tertiary. And in D, what do we see? There are pteridophytes and gymnosperms have just started diversifying. So, and anyways, Carboniferous is left. So definitely D has to be Carboniferous. Okay, so A Cretaceous, B Devonian, C Tertiary, and D the Carboniferous. Okay, so if you see, this is also match the following only. Okay, so answer is option 2. All right. Now, what is the shortcut? I told you that I'll tell you a shortcut. See, when you see this graph, okay, so let me just erase this. Okay. So when you see this graph, so definitely just looking at these plants, you know that these plants are arranged in the order of their complexity, right? So early vascular plants, these are the least complicated. Then pteridophytes, gymnosperms, and angiosperms are the most developed or most evolved ones, right? So evolution always started from the simplest form to the complex form, right? So early vascular plants for sure came first, then pteridophytes, then gymnosperms, then angiosperms. Okay. Now what you can do is see the geological periods are given. Okay. Now in this case, geological periods are actually arranged in the correct order. So among this four, Devonian came first, then Carboniferous, then Tertiary, sorry, then Cretaceous. Okay. So actually what you can do is arrange them. Okay. So it is not given in the correct order here. So Devonian, yes, it did come first. After that, it was Carboniferous. After that, it was Cretaceous. Okay. And then there was Tertiary. So among these four, this is the order. Okay. Where Devonian is the oldest and Tertiary is the most recent. Okay. So definitely the graph with the most simple form, okay, that has to be in the Devonian, right? So which graph is this? For sure B, which has only early vascular plants. Okay, so B for sure is for Devonian. Okay, in this order, which one is showing the next complexity? The one with early vascular plants and pteridophytes. Okay, only. So what is this? D. So that means Carboniferous has to be D. Okay, next is Cretaceous. So for Cretaceous, the next in line is for sure A, because angiosperms are just starting to diversify. That means A will be Cretaceous, and definitely that means C will be Tertiary. Make sense, everyone? Does it make sense? Okay, so if you have the mnemonics to remember the order, okay, then it will be easier for you. So if you remember the order and you remember, or you understand the basic of evolution, okay, it will always go from simple to complex. So it will be easier for you to comprehend these things. Okay, so even though you don't remember the events correctly, but still by applying logic, you can solve this kind of questions. Right. So before we go ahead, quick announcement for the Lakshya batch. Biotechnika's Lakshya batch admissions are going on continuously. And if you join now, you also get free molecular biology internship. And you can, for more information, you can definitely contact in our toll free number. Okay, moving on, another type of question which can come here is that where they give you the events, okay, and the periods are not given, right? So time is not given, but the periods are given. But in the answer, you see that is what they have right written, okay, the periods, okay. So you have to again think about the events and join it with the geological time scale. So, few events in the history of life on Earth are given below. Which of the following is the correct match of the above event with geological period during which they had occurred? Okay, so whenever you are studying this geological periods, first of all, you should know the order of them. Next, you should know the important events. And in important events, you have to know if there is any species which is making its first appearance and the species which was dominant. Okay, that for animal as well as plant world. Okay, so many a time students focus on the animal world, but they forget the plant world, okay, or they ignore it. So in that case, the question, like the previous question, which was completely based on plant diversification, so that you will miss. Okay. Right. So if you people don't have a chart of it, you can always get it from any of the evolution biology book. Okay. So any of the evolution biology book, if you have, whether it is Campbell and Rees or whether it is uh, this one, Strickburgers. Okay. So in all of them, there is this biological time scale which is given. Okay. So please take a snap printout of that particular table. It is excellently arranged. Okay, there are eras, there are periods, there are epochs, everything is mentioned, and the important events in each of these time scales are also mentioned. All right, so let's see how to solve this question. So this is first of all, it is radiation of mammals and birds, flourishing of insects and angiosperms. Radiation of mammals, right? So I told you, even though mammals evolved during tertiary, sorry, not tertiary, during Triassic time period, which is in Mesozoic era, but the radiation of mammals did not happen. That is, radiation means the variations, okay, or division or existence of large number of species of mammals, that did not happen during the entire Mesozoic era, because entire Mesozoic era was ruled by dinosaurs, okay, which were very big in size, very big in number. When the dinosaurs go extinct, then only mammal diversification started. Okay, so that is marked by the Cenozoic era. Okay, so radiation of mammals and birds, flourishing of insects and angiosperms, so that they happened during the Cenozoic era. Okay, now A is Cenozoic era. Now, do you see any Cenozoic era here? No. Why? Because the periods are given. Okay, so what is the first period of Cenozoic era? Tertiary. Okay, so A has to be tertiary. Okay, now see, as like previous classes also, I think I have told you that always solve the question in parts. Okay, that will end, in many of the cases you will end up saving a lot of time in that case. Okay, see here, when you solve that A is tertiary, but you have to be absolutely sure. So when you are absolutely sure that A is tertiary, that means you can automatically eliminate all the options and you have already got your answer. You don't even have to solve any of the things, and you have saved a lot amount of time in solving these questions. Do you all agree? And there is another way of checking why your answer is correct. Okay, see, Ordovician, it is in the Paleozoic era. Okay, the second period of Paleozoic era. Definitely there was no mammal at that time. Not possible. Permian and Permian, again, it is Paleozoic era, even though it is the last period of Paleozoic era, but then also there were no mammals. Okay, birds, not even there. Birds evolved during the Jurassic period only. Okay, so automatically you have eliminated all the options. Do you all follow? So this kind of correlation you should do. And please remember this and keep this in your mind whenever you are solving part C questions, solve it in part. Okay? Always solve it in part. Solve it partially, check the options, see if any option can be eliminated. Okay, but yes, in this case, the only catch is you have to be 100% sure about what you have concluded. Yeah. So primitive plants and fungi colonized land, diversification of echinoderms. So that happened during the Ordovician period. Earliest birds and angiosperms appear, gymnosperms, C is seed plants appear, fishes, trilobite abundant, earliest amphibians and insects. Okay, so this happened during the during the Devonian period where fishes were abundant and it is known as the age of fishes. Earliest bird and angiosperms appear, so that happened during Jurassic period. Okay. Next, invasion of land by primitive land plants and arthropods, that happened during Silurian period. And mass marine extinction, reptiles radiate, amphibians decline. So that happened during Permian period. Okay, the biggest mass extinction. Is it followed, everyone? Okay, moving on to next question. And so these are the actually types of the phylogenetic questions. Sorry, the questions from the phylogenetic history that can come, which is majorly match the kind of questions. Okay, so now we will see more questions from the phylogenetic tree analysis, because lot of questions, as I told you, lot of questions came in June exam from this part. So the phylogeny below shows evolutionary relationship between 9 extant bird species and whether they display red or blue plumage. Based on the given phylogeny and distribution of red and blue characters, states among the extant species, and using the principle of parsimony, which one of the following is the correct influence about correct inference about plumage color of the ancestor at the root P. Okay, so this is root P, and you have options A, B, C, and D. Yes, your 2 minutes starts now. Yeah, so let's see this question. But I'm not getting responses from you all. The students who are there in the session, if you are trying to solve it, please respond, or else how will I know that you are solving it? You need little bit more time or your answer. I barely got reply from only Satyam. Okay, so let's see this question here. So this type of question has actually come multiple times in the exam, and it is very easy to solve. Okay, so first of all, it is talking about principle of parsimony. So what is this principle of maximum parsimony? So it states that that in evolution, the simplest explanation is most probably the correct explanation. Okay, now what does it mean? That during evolution process, so when we are making phylogenetic trees, right, so we will be comparing the characters. On the basis of that, we make phylogenetic tree, right, which shows the relationship between different species. Okay, now when we are doing like that, so we might end up with two or more alternate phylogenetic tree. Okay, now which one is most accurate? So to find out that, there is this principle of maximum parsimony that we use. So principle of maximum parsimony says that the phylogenetic tree with least number of evolutionary events will be the one which is most probable. Okay, now it's not that always this rule will be followed, but this stays good in maximum of the cases. Definitely there can be exceptions. Okay, but there are cases that mostly this rule will be followed, that the phylogenetic tree with least number of changes will be the one which is most parsimonious. or which is the most probable one. Okay, now in that, like when we do this analysis, there is one more thing that we can use here is outgroup analysis. Okay, now what is outgroup? So whenever there's a phylogenetic tree like this, okay, so the group which diverges first from the ancestor, so P is ancestor, so the one which diverges first, okay, that is called as outgroup. So this species will be called as outgroup, whereas all other species here will be called as in-group. Okay, so the species which is categorized in outgroup will be the one which is most different from the species in the in-group. Okay, and the species in the outgroup will be most similar to the ancestor. Okay, so the chances are very high that whatever is the character of outgroup, that will be the character of the ancestor also. Okay, so since this is the outgroup and outgroup had a blue plumage, means P also will have a blue plumage. Okay, so ancestral state of P has to be blue. Am I clear, everyone? Okay, now if you start with the ancestor, so there is another way of checking it. So if you start with the ancestor as blue, you will see that it requires the least number of evolutionary event. Okay, so where it is required, first of all, they all are blue here, no change required. One change might have happened here, okay, where it changed to red. There is no change here, and again one change might have happened here, okay, so that this entire branch is red. So if we start ancestor with blue, then there are two evolutionary events only. Okay. Now, in case you start it with red, so if we start that P is red, okay, then first of all, one evolutionary event has to happen here, which changed red to blue. Okay. Another evolutionary event has to happen here, which again changed this branch also from red to blue. Okay. This continued to be red, and one evolutionary event happened here. Okay, so in this case, what do we see? That there are three evolutionary events happen. If you consider P as red, then three evolutionary events are required to change the plumage to blue in this particular phylogenetic tree. Okay, so that's why considering P with blue gives the least number of evolutionary events, so that tree is more parsimonious. That means ancestral state of P has to be blue. Okay, so that is another way of checking, but the easiest way is for checking with the outgroup. Whatever is the characteristic of the outgroup, the ancestor will also have the same characteristic. Next question. As a biologist, you want to classify three taxa, A, B, and C. You have the information on three traits, P, Q, and R. The trait that is ancestral is counted 0, and the trait that is derived is counted as 1. The distribution of traits found in three taxa are given below. Okay, so A, B, and C are the species, P, Q, and R are the traits. Based on the above table, following cladograms were drawn. Based on trait distribution and the principle of parsimony, select the correct option. Okay, correct option means select which phylogenetic tree or which cladogram looks the most correct. Yes, please try to solve this also on your own. Satyam, I am waiting for your answer. Gayatri, Sri Devi, Pragati, if you guys are there, please answer. Anybody got their answer? See everyone, this should be a reality check for you all. All these questions are part C, previous year questions only. And if you are not able to solve these questions, that means you are not ready with this part. So please buckle up and start revising more. Wherever you are lacking, and I'll analyze it and plug those holes as soon as possible. You don't have much time left. Yeah. So when this kind of question is there, okay, so question says that based on trait distribution, one second. So based on trait distribution and principle of maximum parsimony, okay, you have to select the correct option, right? So first of all, we have to see all these three cladograms and see which one is following the trait distribution. Okay, now very clearly it is mentioned that if the trait is ancestral, then it is written as 0. If it is derived, then it is 1. Okay, so for species A, okay, so it has the derived P and Q but no R. For R it is 0, the ancestral. Okay, and for species B, it is PQR. All three derived characters are there. And for C, only R is the derived character. Okay. Now, keeping this chart in mind, so first we have to check the cladogram and see which is the one which is following this distribution. Okay, so for cladogram A, if you check, so each of these horizontal lines, right, so they are the evolutionary events. Okay, so in this particular cladogram we see that the line which is going to A has P and Q. Okay, that means A has P and Q, B has PQ and R also. Okay, and then C has only R. So this cladogram is information wise is correct. Okay, whatever information is given in the table, this cladogram is following it. Okay, what about cladogram B? So in cladogram B, we have A with P and Q. Okay, correct. B with P, Q and R. So B with R plus P and Q. And C has only R, right? So this cladogram is also correct according to the information given in the table. Okay, so this is what I was telling you, that there can be two or more possible phylogenetic relationships can also be there. Okay, which satisfy our understanding of ancestral characters and derived characters. Okay, now on the basis of that, if we have to check which tree is most probable, then we have to apply the principle of maximum parsimony. Okay, so right now, first of all, check whether the tree is in compliance with the information given in the table or not. So A and B cladograms are there. Okay, they are correct. What about cladogram C? So in cladogram C, A has only P. Okay, what about Q? A should have Q also. And for B, it is only have PQ. Okay, what about R? B should have R also. Okay, so this cladogram C is eliminated. Why? Because the data that is shown here is not following the information that is there in the table. Okay, so C is eliminated, right? So when C is eliminated, you can automatically eliminate option 3, right? Now, trait distribution you have checked. So A and B are both possible. Okay, but question is not only asking about trait distribution, it is also asking you to consider the principle of parsimony. Okay, now what is this principle of maximum parsimony? It says that the phylogenetic tree with least number of evolutionary event is the most probable one. Okay, so A has 4 evolutionary events, whereas B has 5 evolutionary event. So which cladogram will be most probable? The one with least evolutionary events, means cladogram A only. Okay, so answer will be option 4. Only A cladogram is possible. Okay, data wise, data distribution, if we see, B is also correct. But because we have to consider principle of maximum parsimony also, so B is eliminated. I hope everybody understood the idea here. Moving on to next question. An ancestral sequence, TTAG, has diverged into two sequences and has since accumulated nucleotide substitution along two lineages, 1 and 2. Match the type of substitution observed in the two sequences with their correct names. So this is the sequence TTAG. Okay, this is the change that is happening. Okay, at T, T, A, and G position. Okay, and this is the result. So this was before the change. This is the change which is happening, and this is the result. Okay, so this is for lineage 1. This side is for lineage 2. Okay, so by looking at these changes here and here, you have to give them the proper name. Please, everyone, try to solve this question. And if you have solved it, please give me the answer. Your 2 minutes are up. Anybody has the answer? Anyone would like to check? Okay, so everyone, please pay attention here. Let's solve this question. Okay. So at this first position, what do you see? That in lineage 1, it is changing from T to C and then A, whereas in lineage 2, it remaining T only. Okay, so this substitution that is happening, so T is getting changed with C, C is getting changed to A, so it is a multiple substitution, right? One substitution, two substitutions, two different substitutions happen, so it can be called as a multiple substitution. Okay, what about second position? T changed to C. T was substituted with C in lineage 1. T was substituted to C in lineage 2 as well. Okay, but it did not happen together, or did not happen in the ancestor. Okay, it happened in the descendant only, independently, but at the same position. Okay, so this kind of change is called as parallel substitution. At the same position, same change happening in both the species. So it is parallel substitution. Okay. Next position, A to G, G to C. Okay. Whereas in lineage 2, A to C. All right. So here in lineage 1, it is A to G, G to C, and this is A to C directly. Okay. So this will be a situation of convergent substitution. Okay, so it went, first of all, it became different. So in first substitution, it became different. It became G, this one became C. But in another substitution, this G was substituted to C. Okay, so ultimately it became same. But did it take the same path? No. If it would have taken the same path, then we will call it parallel substitution. But because it took different path, but the end result was same, then it is called as convergent substitution. Okay, that like how convergent evolution is there. So convergent evolution, what happens? You have two closely related species, they develop similar characteristics, similar traits, right? That is what is convergent evolution. So here two, so they started with different feature, but they both end up with the same substitution here, or the same nucleotide at this position. So it is convergent substitution. In the fourth position, in lineage 1, it is G, A, and then back to G. Okay. And lineage 2 remained G only. So G to A changed, but then A was back changed to G. So it is a back substitution. All right. So position A is multiple substitution, B is parallel substitution, C is convergent substitution, and D is back substitution. Okay. Again, answer will be option 2. All right. Next question. The figure below shows a gene duplication event followed by a divergence event in species 1 and 2. Based on the details given above, determine what is represented by A and B. Okay, so A and B. Now, if you see this image, okay, so this image has been directly taken from one of the standard reference book. Okay, there's a book by Evolution by Mark Ridley. From that book, exact same image is there. Just that in A and B, it is also mentioned. Okay, what is A and what is B. So exact same image is taken from there, and it is just the names have been eliminated. Instead of that, it is A and B kept, and you have to tell you have to find out what is A and what is B. Okay, see, that is how the questions come. They don't, all the examiners or all the question setters, they don't set up complete new questions. Yes, some of the cases they do, but another thing is, another way that they do is they take up images from the standard books only, and then there will be some label, some part of the image will be missing, or they take data from the standard books only. Okay, and some part of it will be eliminated, and then question from that part will be asked. Okay, so that is how they will modify the questions. So when you are practicing questions, so if you have enough mock test papers, so nothing can be better than that. So try to practice it in time test condition. But in case you are running out of question, okay, so in that case what you can do is try practicing the questions which are there at the back of chapter of in the standard reference books. Just take any subject, any standard book you take, like for immunology if you take Cube, for evolution if you take Strickberger's, for cell biology if you take Albert's. Okay, so take any book. After each chapter there will be questions given for your practice. Okay, so those questions are excellent to check whether you have understood the concept or not, and you might get some common question also in the exam. And many of these reference books, they also give the solution at the back of the book. Okay, so you can even check with your answer whether you have answered it correct or not. Yes, anybody would like to answer here? What is A and what is B? Anyone? So if you see the options, that will only give you idea. So it is talking about duplicated genes, ancestral gene, paralogs, orthologs, like that, right? So what is actually being shown in this image? So you have a gene for white color, that is the ancestral gene. Then gene duplication happened. So another copy of this white color gene was formed. Okay. But both these genes acquired mutations differently. And then this other allele, the one which is now marked in black, is now coding for a different color. Okay. So these two copies of the gene, how they were created? They were created by gene duplication. Okay. Next, evolutionary divergence happened. evolutionary divergence resulted into two different lineages, right? Means this are two different species, species 1 and species 2. Okay, so question is, what is A is the different color gene in S1 and S2, and B is the different color gene in S1 and white color gene in S2. Okay, so what is the relationship between them? That is what you have to answer here. Okay, so what we know about orthologs and paralogs? So orthologs and paralogs, they both are homologous genes having similar sequences. So so having a similar function in different species. Okay, so orthologs are homologous genes which are present in the same location in different species. Okay, so they diverge from each other because of speciation, whereas paralogous genes are the genes which will be found in different location, but they have similar structure and function, and because the paralogs, they have developed from gene duplication. Okay, so this part you have to remember. Orthologs, they arise because of speciation, formation of different species, and paralogs, they exist because of um, gene duplication. Okay, so you see this white and black, how did they develop? They develop because of duplication. Okay, so if you take this black one from species 1 and white one from species 2, so how they have evolved? Once upon a time they were same ancestral gene, but now they have developed into two different one. That is because they have undergone gene duplication. Okay, so B has to be paralog, genes which arise because of gene duplication. Now, what is A? A is the black colored gene only, or the different colored gene only in S1 and S2. Okay, so it is the gene having coding for the different color, but one is present in species 1, one is present in species 2. Okay, so how did they actually diverge from each other? They diverged because of the speciation, because of which two different species are formed. Okay, so so this A1 is orthologous. Okay, see, for example, if you take the hemoglobin, the gene coding for hemoglobin in human and gene coding for hemoglobin in a dog. Okay, so that will be called as orthologous, because the gene is still coding for hemoglobin, but it is not the same, because one is coding for hemoglobin in dog species, the other one is coding for hemoglobin in human species. Okay, so that will be orthologous, right? So this black one in two different species are orthologous. So A is ortholog, whereas B is paralog. So answer will be option C. Right. Moving on to next question. So evolutionary history and paleontological history. So a part of that is also human evolution. Okay. So this is a question which came from human evolution. Following is a diagrammatic representation of human evolution tree. Okay. So in there you see there is Australopithecus which is marked, and then there is Homo sapiens which is marked. Okay. But in between what came is not marked. A, B, C, D. So you have to find out what all are the species that is occupying the positions A, B, C, and D. Yes, I'm waiting for your answers. Yes, anyone? Yeah. So let's have a look at this question. Okay. So in this, you have to have an idea about human evolution. Right. So in human evolution, so human evolution, although it did not happen in a single line, okay, so even though here you see it is kind of shown in a single line, but it is not actually how human evolution happened. Human evolution happened in a very much branched way, okay. Along the way, many descendant species were formed, and many of the species went extinct, and ultimately homo sapien is the only human species which is surviving, okay. There were many other human species which all got extinct. Okay, now for that you should have an idea about the human evolution, and this is a mnemonic that will help you in remembering the chronological order of different human species. Okay, how they appeared on earth. This is the chronological order. Okay, remember, this is chronological order, means it is arranged in time. Okay, but it is not exactly, it's not that from Australopithecus Homo habilis only came, from Homo habilis only Homo erectus came, not like that. There were many groups in between also, many of them went extinct. Okay, so how do you remember this chronological order? So it is given as apple has essential nutrients for human. So A for Australopithecus, who is our ancestral species, and from this Australopithecus only the genus Homo has evolved. Okay. Then H for Homo habilis. So from Australopithecus, Homo genus has evolved. After that, all the groups that we will be mentioning here all has Homo. Okay. So here this H refers to this H here, habilis. Okay. Then E refers to E here, which is erectus. N refers to Neanderthalensis, and then finally Homo sapiens. Okay, so apple has essential nutrients for human. If you remember this, you will be able to remember the chronological order of different human species, starting with Australopithecus, Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Homo neanderthalensis, and Homo sapiens. Okay, now that is the chronological order. So you know for sure that A is Homo habilis, B has to be Homo erectus. Okay, so A is Homo habilis, B is Homo erectus, right? So with this only you have got your answer. None of the options given has Homo habilis has the first. Okay, so only option 2 has Homo habilis as first and Homo erectus, right? So already you have your answer. But you see about C and D. What is this C and D? So C is Neanderthalensis. Okay, D is another group which is Denisovans. Okay, this group has also got extinct. All right, so see Neanderthalensis. So in often you might have studied, like in many places we see that Neanderthals are considered as ancestors of Homo sapiens. No, Neanderthals, Denisovans, and Homo sapiens, they all evolved from the group of Homo erectus. Okay, so there was a time when all these three species they were together on earth. Okay, in fact, when we see the genome analysis of modern human, there is a good part of Neanderthal genome present in our genome. Okay, which showed that at some point of the time Homo sapiens, they bred with Neanderthals. Okay, so Neanderthals, Denisovans, and Homo sapiens, they all evolved together, and they were, once upon a time, they all roamed the earth together also. Okay, but ultimately Denisovans and Neanderthals, they both went extinct, and only Homo sapiens survived. Okay, so A is habilis, B is erectus, C is Neanderthalensis, and D is Denisovan. Okay, so answer will be option 2. Yes, coming with next question. Now, this is a very easy question, because we have talked about to the most parsimonious tree and maximum parsimony, and I think everybody will be able to answer it. In the cladogram given below, each nucleotide change is indicated by a black bar. Which one of the following options represent two equally most parsimonious tree? Can I expect some answers from you all? Anybody would like to answer? Out of this options A, B, C, and D, tell me which two are equally parsimonious. This is a very easy question actually. Extremely easy, and it will not take even 30 seconds. But definitely you have to be clear with the concept of what is this maximum parsimony. What do you mean by most parsimonious tree? If you understand that concept, and in this session, I think I have repeated twice or thrice, so then it will be very easy for you to solve this question. Okay, so as you can see here, that we will count the evolutionary events, right? So the most parsimonious tree is the one with the least number of evolutionary events. So, and what are the evolutionary events? These black bars, they are representing each evolutionary event. Okay, so this first A option has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 evolutionary events. B has 4, C has 4, and D has again 5. Okay, so which two trees are most parsimonious? B and C. Okay, very, very easy. Answer is option B. Right. So now we have last 4 minutes and let's solve one more question before we end the session. The following statements describe different patterns of sequence evolution. A, B, C, D. There are 4 statements given. Which one of the option is not true about sequence evolution under purifying selection? So you have to select the statement which is not true. Now, when you check the statements, so the statements are referring to synonymous and non-synonymous mutations. Okay, so synonymous and non-synonymous mutations, they come as a part of, like, this should be the hint for you to understand which concept you have to think about. Okay, so this is the theory of neutral evolution. So this theory of neutral evolution was given by Moto Kimura, and what did it say? So it said that most amount of changes that are happening in the genome are synonymous changes. Okay, why synonymous changes? Because synonymous changes are not changing anything in the synonymous change means the nucleotide is replaced by the same nucleotide. Okay, or the nucleotide is changed with a different nucleotide, but meaning of the codon is not changed. Codon remains, or it changes into a synonymous codon, so the same amino acid only is getting incorporated. Okay, so these are called as neutral mutations or neutral changes because they do not cause any change, okay, in the protein or in the functioning or the structure of the protein. So therefore they are not beneficial, neither they are harmful. Okay, so they are neutral. Okay, so according to neutral theory of neutral evolution, majority of the changes or mutations which are happening in our genome are neutral in nature. Okay, so most non synonymous mutations are selected against. Now this is actually true. So non-synonymous mutations means what? That the mutations which will change the structure and function of the protein. So if that is happening, then chances are very high that the protein will become dysfunctional, and if the protein is dysfunctional means it will be harmful. So majority of these non-synonymous mutations are actually harmful. Okay, the genome or the organism is not at all tolerant to these non-synonymous mutations, and majority of them are harmful, and harmful mutations will be eliminated, means they will be selected against. Okay, so this statement is true. Statement B says that synonymous mutations can accumulate. Yes, because synonymous mutations, they are happening in a silent way in the genome, but it is not causing any change in the protein that it is coding, right? So they can accumulate because they are not causing any harm or any benefit to the organism. They are neutral. Okay, C says that ratio of non-synonymous to synonymous mutations are high. So if non-synonymous mutation to synonymous mutation, if this ratio is high, means number of non-synonymous mutation is higher than that of synonymous mutation. Okay, but if that happens, then again it will be not true, because most, if non-synonymous mutations are majorly happening, then all these mutations, they will be lost because they are harmful. Okay, so in a natural situation, what happens is synonymous substitutions will always be higher than non-synonymous substitution because our genome is tolerant to synonymous substitutions. Okay, so this is incorrect regarding the selection process or the purifying selection. This is incorrect regarding selection process. Okay, and D says that non-synonymous sites accumulate mutation at higher rate. So non-synonymous sites, the same thing that I'm telling you, that non-synonymous sites are least tolerant to any change. Okay, if there is any change in them, there will be change in the structure and function of the protein, and that will be a major effect. Okay, but at the synonymous substitutions, then the genome is tolerant. Okay, but so non-synonymous substitution sites accumulate mutation at higher rate is again incorrect. The synonymous sites will accumulate mutations. Okay, but non-synonymous sites, they will not tolerate any change. Okay, so which of the statements are not true? So answer will be C and D. Okay, so in this kind of question, you have to be absolutely sure about what has been asked, whether you have to choose the statement that is correct or you have to choose the statement which is not correct. Okay, many a times, see, if you do not read it properly, you will just answer A and B, thinking that it has asked the statement which is correct about purifying selection. Okay, so then A and B will be the answer. But here the question is which of the statement is not correct, okay, about purifying selection. So answer will be C and D. Okay, I hope all of you understood. And we come to the end of this session. I request our technical team to please share the link of the document in the chat box, and from that link you can download the document, and you will get some extra questions from this particular topic to solve and analyze. Okay, and along with that, not only the question is given, answer and explanation is given. I definitely hope that it will help you in your February exams preparation. Okay, so before stopping the session, one more time about Biotecnica's Lakshya batch. It is the enrollments are going on. Batch has just started. If you are targeting June exam, please do not think twice or do not get late and enroll to Biotecnica's coaching. And we have lot many years of experience in guiding CSIR net and GATE aspirants, and definitely will be able to help you in achieving your target. Thank you everyone for the session. Have a great day and see you all in another session tomorrow. Thank you everyone. Please keep joining our Brahmastra series 6 to 7 every day on YouTube channel of Biotecnica 6 to 7.